This is Whispers of the Universe. Let the world slow down around you. You are here, safe, in this quiet moment. And tonight, we begin a new journey, a journey into light. Close your eyes if you wish. Let your breath soften. Let each inhale be a gathering of calm, and each exhale be a release of all that has been heavy. Feel yourself drifting, lighter, quieter, as though your body itself is becoming luminous, light, the gentle language of the stars, the invisible thread that weaves the cosmos together. It is simple, yet infinite. We cannot hold it, yet it touches everything. We cannot weigh it, yet it carries the weight of our entire existence. Long before life began, there was light. Long before earth cooled, before oceans formed, before a single cell stretched into the warmth of water, there was light. Born in the heart of stars, carried across gulfs of silence, light filled the empty canvas of space. It streamed endlessly, not asking to be noticed, not waiting for eyes to see it. And still it came. When you look at the night sky, what you see is not now. Every star is a memory, a story told in photons. Some of the light above you tonight began its journey before there were trees, before mountains rose, before the very ground beneath you had formed. The light you see is history itself, reaching forward, insisting gently, I am still here. And think of this. Every photon is restless. It never stops. It has no choice. If it were ever to rest, it would cease to exist. Its whole being is movement. Its purpose is to arrive. And yet, it carries no mass. It has no weight, no burden. It is freedom itself, a messenger that belongs to no place, bound only by speed. Imagine one photon in particular. It is born in the nuclear fire of the sun, deep in the core, where pressure is beyond comprehension and temperature climbs beyond imagination. For thousands, even millions of years, it struggles upward, colliding, scattering, bouncing among particles. Its journey through the dense plasma is slow, frustratingly slow, step by step through a crowd that never clears. Until finally, after an age, it escapes into open space. And then, everything changes. It races outward at the universe's limit, the cosmic speed that nothing can surpass. In 8 minutes, it reaches Earth. Perhaps it glances off the ocean, sending a shimmer across the waves. Perhaps it threads through leaves in a forest, painting a patch of green with sudden life. Perhaps it travels through your window this very night and rests softly against your skin. You do not feel its weight. You do not hear its arrival. And yet, in that instant, you are touched by something that began its journey before you were born. That is what light is. A gift that arrives without announcement, without demand, always on time, and always for you. Light is not only science, it is memory, it is comfort. It is the tender hand that reveals faces, landscapes, and moments that would otherwise be swallowed by darkness. A candle in the window does not conquer the night, but it tells you someone is awake. A star in the distance cannot cross the gulf, but it tells you distance is not silence. Light is also story. Every shadow is a sentence. Every reflection is a phrase. Your face in a mirror is a dialogue between light and glass. The sparkle on the ocean is poetry written across waves in liquid silver. Even the outline of your hand in shadow is part of this tale, reminding you not only of where light is, but where it is not. Artists have always known this. Painters chase light across canvas. Poets describe its softness in words. Musicians use it as metaphor for clarity, revelation, hope. Light is muse as much as it is physics. Without it, there is no color, no vision, no art. With it, the world becomes a gallery, endless and alive. But light is fragile. It can be stopped by a curtain. It can be hidden by a single gesture of the hand. It is drowned by distance, swallowed by the vastness of night. And yet, fragility is part of its grace. It exists only in the moment it is received. Like music, it must be heard to exist fully. Like love, it is strongest when shared. There is a paradox in light. It is constant, yet fleeting. It is universal, yet intimate. It touches galaxies, yet it rests on your eyelids tonight. And in that paradox is its whisper. You are part of something vast, and yet you are never forgotten within it. Now think of the world at dawn. The darkness has lingered, but then without warning, a pale glow begins. At first, it is subtle, a faint silver behind the horizon. The air itself seems to pause, as though holding a secret. Birds stir, shadows soften, colors begin to breathe. The world wakes not with noise, but with light. Dawn is not simply the start of another day. It is the promise of renewal, whispered through photons. It is light saying gently, begin again. And so, as you rest here, breathing slow and calm, let yourself drift with that promise. The night is not over. The journey is only beginning. From here, we follow light into morning, into the first glow of dawn. The night has lingered. It has wrapped the world in its quiet folds. But slowly, almost shyly, something begins to change. The horizon softens. The dark is no longer absolute. A pale silver seeps into the sky, so delicate that at first you wonder if it is only your imagination. This is the first glow of dawn. It arrives without announcement, without hurry. It does not burst forth. It does not shout. It simply expands, little by little, as though the world itself is exhaling light after a long, patient silence. Dawn is the universe's soft reminder. Nothing is permanent, not even the night. What seems endless eventually yields. What feels eternal eventually transforms. The darkness gives way, and in its surrender, beauty is born. Imagine standing on a quiet field. The grass is still wet with dew. The air is cool, carrying the scent of soil and leaves. You wait, and slowly, the first colors arrive. Not the blazing gold of sunrise, not yet, but a thin layer of silver, gray, faint rose, as though the sky itself is waking from a dream. This is the fragile threshold between night and day, a liminal space. The birds know it well. Even before the sun appears, they stir, sensing the change in the air. Their songs are the first celebration of light, notes that rise before the sky has even broken open. In this moment, time itself feels different. It is neither night nor morning, but both. It stretches, weightless, like a held breath. And in that pause, everything feels possible. Dawn is the opening of a door, and light is the invitation. But what is happening truly? What is this glow that softens the dark? Science tells us that even before the sun rises above the horizon, its light is already here. It bends around the curve of Earth, scattered in the atmosphere. Tiny particles in the air catch the sun's rays, even while the sun itself is hidden. They scatter shorter wavelengths, the blues and violets, across the sky. That is why the world grows pale blue before the sun arrives. This scattering has a name, Rayleigh scattering. It is simple physics, yet it feels like poetry. The smallest particles in the atmosphere, invisible to our eyes, create the great canvas of dawn. The light of a star, our star, reshaped by air, by dust, by the thin veil of atmosphere, paints the sky with softness. And so, when you see that first glow, you are not just watching the world wake. You are watching particles dance with photons. You are watching the earth itself bend light into a greeting. Dawn is universal, but it is also intimate. Every culture has stories of morning. To some, it is rebirth, the daily renewal of the world. To others, it is hope, the promise that even after darkness, there will be light again. Poets have written of it as love's hour, the time when longing softens into tenderness. Monks rise at dawn to pray, believing the soul is most open in that gentle hour. And to you, perhaps, dawn is simply peace, the moment when the rush of day has not yet begun, when silence and birdsong coexist, when the light is not harsh, but kind. Have you ever noticed how colors at dawn are unlike colors at any other time? They are muted and gentle, as though they do not want to startle the earth awake. The pinks are soft, the blues are pale, almost transparent. Even shadows are less certain, stretching but not defined. Everything seems blurred at the edges, as though reality itself is rubbing its eyes. There is something profoundly human in this, because we too need gentle beginnings. We cannot always leap into brightness. Sometimes we need light to arrive slowly, to guide us out of the dark step by step. That is what dawn gives us, not a command, but an invitation, not a demand, but a whisper. In ancient times, people honored dawn. Temples were built to align with the first light. Songs were written for the rising sun. The Egyptians saw in dawn the rebirth of Ra, their sun god, sailing once more across the sky. The Greeks imagined Eos, the rosy-fingered goddess, spreading her colors across the horizon. Everywhere, people knew the first glow was sacred. Even now, in our busy modern lives, the dawn waits. It does not require belief to be holy. It only requires that you pause to see it. The glow is always there, whether noticed or not, a daily miracle that most of us sleep through. Let us pause here, together, and imagine the slow unfolding of light. The horizon brightens, silver deepens into gold. The world begins to breathe differently. Flowers open, shadows retreat, and you too begin to feel the shift. Your breath steadies, your thoughts soften. The first glow of dawn is not just out there in the sky. It is inside you, waiting to rise. And as you rest, carried by the quiet rhythm of light, know that this is only the beginning. For if dawn is the promise of return, then sunset is its echo. Where dawn whispers begin again, sunset whispers rest now. But before the farewell of light, we remain here at its birth, here in the fragile glowing threshold, here in the first glow of dawn. Dawn whispered to us, begin again. And now, as the day stretches toward its quiet ending, light prepares its farewell. The sun lowers slowly, almost ceremonially. The air begins to cool, the sounds soften, and the horizon becomes a canvas. Colors shift in slow waves: gold, amber, rose, violet, spilling gently across the sky. This is not the violent end of a fire, but the graceful bow of an ancient dancer leaving the stage. Sunset is light's way of saying, rest now. There is a hush in the world at this hour. Even busy cities pause. Shadows grow longer, stretching across streets and fields, reaching like fingers toward night. Children fall quiet, birds wheel back to their nests, and the first stars begin to show their silver eyes. Everything feels slower, as if the earth itself has exhaled. Sunset has always been a moment of wonder. It is universal, seen by every human who has ever lived, and yet each one experiences it differently. For some, it is romance, a horizon dipped in fire. For others, it is melancholy, the reminder that every brightness fades. And for many, it is peace, a gentle pause between the noise of day and the silence of night. But what exactly is a sunset? Science tells us it is geometry and scattering. The sun does not truly sink. The earth tilts. The atmosphere bends light, filters it, stretches it into colors. The shorter wavelengths, the blues and greens, scatter away. The longer waves, reds, oranges, deep purples remain, washing the sky in warmth. It is the physics of air and dust, particles and angles. Yet to the heart, it is more, because sunset is not just about the light we see. It is about what we feel. It is the reminder that endings can be beautiful, that closure need not be sharp or cold, but soft, radiant, full of grace. Imagine sitting on a quiet shore as the sun lowers. The water mirrors the sky, a moving canvas of shifting color. Each ripple becomes a brushstroke of gold. The horizon burns with light, then fades into lavender, then finally indigo. You sit, silent, and realize the day is leaving you gently. Or picture standing in the middle of a city street at sunset. Buildings catch the glow, their windows aflame with orange fire. People walk quickly, yet for a moment everyone looks up. Even strangers pause, caught by the same beauty. The sun is impartial. It blesses the field and the skyscraper equally. It paints farmers and bankers and children with the same brush of light. Cultures across the world have honored sunsets. The Japanese speak of yuyake, the evening glow, as a time for reflection. In India, prayers are offered at dusk, a sacred crossing from day into night. The Mayans built temples aligned with the setting sun, watching as shadows marked the seasons. And even now, people gather at beaches, mountains, rooftops, waiting for the same daily miracle, the departure of the sun dressed in color. But sunset is more than spectacle, it is rhythm. It tells our bodies, slow down. Our brains respond to the dimming light, releasing melatonin, preparing us for rest. Sunset is not only for the sky, it happens within us. As the horizon darkens, so too does the mind soften. There is also symbolism here. Every life has sunsets, moments of ending, seasons closing, journeys complete. We often fear them, resist them, fight against them. But sunset teaches us a different truth. Endings can glow. They can carry warmth. They can be beautiful departures rather than abrupt losses. Have you noticed how light at sunset makes everything seem more tender? Faces glow, shadows soften, even the ordinary becomes sacred. A cup on the table, a tree in the yard, a single stone on the path. All of them wear the same golden veil. Sunset does not discriminate. It blesses everything equally with its final glow. The poets have always loved this hour. They write of the golden hour when light is gentle enough to touch without burning. Painters wait for it, knowing that colors then are not harsh but kind. Photographers chase it, calling it the time when every angle becomes beauty. It is a gift of nature, a moment each day when the world softens. But sunset is fleeting. It slips quickly, like sand through fingers. One moment, the sky is aflame. The next, it is dusk. This impermanence is its power. Because we cannot hold it, we learn to notice it. Because we cannot keep it, we learn to treasure it. Imagine the very last rays. The sun touches the edge of the horizon, then sinks. A burst of red lingers, then fades. The first star shines brighter now, confident in its return. Night arrives, but not suddenly. It enters like a guest, invited by the last light. And perhaps this is sunset's greatest gift. It prepares us. It does not abandon us in darkness, but escorts us gently toward it. It tells us endings need not be abrupt. They can be transitions. They can be soft thresholds that carry us across. Now, as you rest, imagine yourself wrapped in the colors of sunset. Golden warmth along your skin, a hush in the air, the day bowing gracefully, leaving you with nothing to chase, nothing to fear, only rest, only presence. And remember, the story of light does not end here, for even as it leaves, it lingers. It hides in color, in memory, in the quiet rainbow that dusk leaves behind. And that rainbow, subtle and secret, will carry us to the next chapter, the hidden colors of light. Sunset has faded, yet its colors linger. The sky does not darken all at once. It holds a secret palette, a whisper of hues woven into the fabric of twilight. And among these whispers lies one of the most enchanting mysteries of light, the hidden colors of the rainbow. Most of us know the rainbow as a simple arc of colors after the rain: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. A neat spectrum, often memorized as a song in childhood, painted in drawings, used in symbols of hope. But the truth is, the rainbow is far more complex than the bands we recite. Those 7 colors are only a story we told ourselves, a way to tame infinity into something we could name. Because in reality, light holds countless shades, endless variations, infinite gradients of color that our eyes cannot even perceive. The rainbow is not seven, it is uncountable. Between red and orange lie millions of subtle shifts. Between green and blue, a sea of transitions that blur into each other, invisible to the naked eye. Every photon carries its own wavelength, its own rhythm. Some vibrate slowly, stretching into long, lazy waves of red. Others tremble quickly, tiny bursts of violet and beyond. And in between is a spectrum so rich that no human could ever map it all. To look at a rainbow is to look at infinity compressed into a bow across the sky. But here is the curious thing. The rainbow we see is not all there is. It is a sliver, a narrow window of light visible to the human eye. Beyond violet lies ultraviolet, a world of color bees can see but we cannot. Flowers reflect patterns in ultraviolet, guiding insects to their nectar like invisible maps. To us, the petals may appear simple. To a bee, they blaze with hidden markings, arrows of light pointing the way. Beyond red lies infrared, the gentle warmth we feel from the sun, from fire, from another person's skin. Though we cannot see it, we sense it in heat against our hands, in the comfort of a blanket, in the glow of embers. Infrared is the invisible softness of light, a reminder that not all radiance is visible. And still further stretch the waves, radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, gamma rays. Each is light, each a different vibration of the same fundamental dance. The rainbow is not an arc, it is an ocean, and we, with our limited eyes, only skim the surface. Yet what a surface it is. The colors of the rainbow have carried meaning for millennia. Red, the pulse of fire and blood. Orange, the warmth of harvest. Yellow, the echo of the sun. Green, the breath of the earth. Blue, the calm of sky and sea. Indigo, the depth of mystery. Violet, the edge of perception. But even within these, no two people see the same rainbow. Color is not fixed. It depends on the eye, the brain, the light, the air. One person may see more green, another more violet. One may see brightness, another only pale shades. A rainbow is as personal as a dream. Have you ever noticed how rainbows follow you? You walk and it moves. You drive and it stays. That is because a rainbow is not a thing in the sky, but a relationship. It is the dance between sun, rain, and observer. The arc exists only because you stand in that place, at that angle. If you were elsewhere, it would be different. If no one looked, it would vanish. A rainbow is light, but it is also perspective. There is something tender in this truth, that beauty is not fixed, but relational. That what we see is shaped by where we stand, that light bends differently for each of us. Now imagine the hidden rainbows we cannot see, the infrared shimmering across the night sky, the ultraviolet blaze of flowers, the X-rays of stars, the gamma rays of galaxies colliding. The universe is full of rainbows, endless and unseen, arcing far beyond our senses. We live surrounded by colors we will never know. And yet, even the small slice we glimpse is enough to fill us with wonder. Artists have always tried to capture this, stained glass catching light in cathedrals, painting walls with fragments of rainbow, prisms on desks, scattering morning light into jewels. Painters blending hues that have no names, chasing the shimmer of twilight. But all art is an approximation, a translation of infinite spectrum into human language. The rainbow itself remains beyond capture, and maybe that is the point. Not everything is meant to be grasped fully. Some things are meant to be glimpsed or cherished and let go. The rainbow teaches us impermanence. It appears, lingers, and dissolves. It refuses possession. It belongs to the sky, to the rain, to the moment. There are also rainbows at night, though fewer see them. Moonbows, faint arcs created by moonlight passing through mist. They are pale, often nearly white, their colors subdued, but they are proof that light never rests. Even in the quiet of midnight, it bends, scatters, reveals, and there are rainbows in places we do not expect. A drop of oil on water, splitting light into iridescent sheen. The shimmer on a soap bubble, fragile as a breath. The glint of a feather, a beetle's wing, a shard of crystal. Everywhere, tiny rainbows whisper, light is never only one color. It is many, always many. Perhaps the most humbling truth is this: our eyes are not final. Other creatures live in different rainbows. Birds see into ultraviolet. Snakes sense infrared. Bees, butterflies, mantis shrimps all carry visions of color beyond ours. Their worlds blaze with hues we cannot even imagine. We think our rainbow is complete, but it is only one translation among many. And yet, the rainbow we know is enough. It comforts. It inspires. It reminds us that light, though invisible, can unfold into beauty when given the right conditions. Sun plus rain plus I equals miracle, a formula so simple, yet so profound. There is also something symbolic here. The rainbow is bridge. In myth, it connects heaven and earth. In memory, it connects storm and calm. In heart, it connects despair and hope. It is the arc that tells us, even after the rain, there is color. Even after sorrow, there is beauty. Now, let us return to the science for a moment. A rainbow is not one bow, but many. Each droplet of rain bends light into its own tiny spectrum. What you see is the collective of countless droplets, each holding a miniature rainbow. The arc in the sky is a tapestry woven from billions of tiny prisms, each scattering light at just the right angle. And sometimes, if conditions allow, there are two, a double rainbow, the second fainter reversed in color. Between them lies a darker band, known as Alexander's band, a space where light does not reach. Even in rainbows, there is shadow. Even in brilliance, there are gaps. Perhaps that is part of the lesson too, that beauty does not need to be complete to be real, that light can dazzle even with spaces left unlit. As you breathe here, in this quiet moment, imagine the rainbow hidden in every drop of water, every shard of glass, every glimmer of light around you. Imagine yourself surrounded by colors seen and unseen, carried by photons from sun and star, woven into an arc that is as fleeting as it is eternal. And know this: light is not finished, revealing its secrets. For after the rainbow fades, other forms await, colors that belong not only to the eye, but to memory, to shadow, to silence. From the hidden colors of the rainbow, we will drift next into the realm of shadows, where light and darkness dance their silent duet. The rainbow fades. The colors dissolve into dusk. And once again, the sky reminds us of an ancient truth. Where there is light, there is shadow. Where there is brilliance, there is absence. They are not enemies, but partners in a silent dance. Darkness is often misunderstood. We imagine it as emptiness, as the absence of all that matters. We speak of it as fear, as danger, as unknown. But the truth is more subtle. Darkness is not the enemy of light. It is the stage upon which light performs. Without the dark, the star could never shine. Without shadow, brightness would have no shape. Hold your hand up to a lamp. See the shadow it casts. That shadow is not a mistake. It is information. It tells you where the light is, where it is not, how it travels, how it bends. Shadow gives light its language. This is true in art as well. Painters call it chiaroscuro, the interplay of dark and light. Without darkness, the canvas would be flat. Without contrast, there would be no depth, no life, no drama. The greatest masterpieces are not those filled with pure brightness, but those where shadows breathe. And in life, is it not the same? Without sorrow, would we know joy? Without silence, would music have meaning? Without shadow, would light be as precious? The dance of light and darkness is woven into our very existence. Science, too, agrees. Light is not all-powerful. It bends, it fades, it stops. Every object blocks it, reshapes it, carves shadows into the world. The earth itself casts a vast shadow into space, a cone of darkness stretching millions of kilometers, the very reason eclipses happen. Even the moon, pale lantern of night, is sometimes swallowed by Earth's shadow. Yet shadows are not only absence, they are alive with secrets. In the shade of trees, plants thrive differently than in open fields. Animals hide, rest, hunt. Coolness gathers, water lingers. Shadow is shelter as much as it is concealment. Have you ever noticed how your mind feels different in shadow? A darkened room quiets thought. A dim corner invites reflection. Candlelight soothes not because it banishes darkness, but because it balances it. Too much light blinds. Too much dark weighs heavy. But together they create harmony. Astronomers speak of dark matter, dark energy, the unseen scaffolding of the universe. We cannot see it, cannot touch it, yet without it, galaxies would fly apart, the cosmos would unravel. Darkness, it seems, is not empty at all. It holds the structure that makes light possible. Think also of the human eye. We see not because of light alone, but because of contrast between light and dark. Our retinas adjust, balancing rods and cones, finding shape in the interplay. If everything were equally bright, vision would vanish in uniform glare. If everything were equally dark, there would be nothing to see. Perception itself is born from the meeting of light and shadow. And so, perhaps, the fear of darkness is less about what it is and more about what we imagine. We project our doubts, our worries, our uncertainties into shadow, but the shadow is not to blame. It is simply the canvas where imagination runs wild. Consider the night sky. What makes stars beautiful is not just their own fire, but the black sea that surrounds them. A star in daylight is invisible. A star in darkness is infinite. It is the contrast that makes wonder. Even in philosophy, this truth appears. Lao Tzu wrote of yin and yang, the balance of light and dark, each containing a seed of the other. Balance is not achieved by eliminating darkness, but by letting it dance with light. Imagine standing in a forest at twilight. The last rays of the sun filter through branches, painting stripes of gold and shadow across the ground. The air is cool. The birds are quieting. Here, light and dark weave together like threads. Neither dominates. Together they create atmosphere, presence, a mood. Or think of the ocean at night. Moonlight scatters across waves, silver patches on a field of black. The beauty lies not in the light alone, nor in the darkness alone, but in the rhythm between them, a conversation across the water. This is the dance. Light steps forward, darkness answers. They circle, they trade places, they weave patterns too large for us to see fully. But we feel it in our days, in our nights, in our lives. And so, when shadows lengthen around you, when darkness seems to gather, remember, it is not here to erase light. It is here to reveal it, to frame it, to make it sing. In every shadow, there is shape. In every night, there is the promise of stars. In every ending, there is the seed of beginning. Light and dark are not rivals. They are companions, eternal partners in a cosmic waltz. And as you breathe slowly, let yourself rest in that truth. Do not fear the shadow in the room, nor the quiet outside your window. They are simply the other half of light's story. And tomorrow they will trade places again, because this dance never ends. It continues in every sunrise and sunset, in every eclipse, in every flame, and every shadow it casts. It continues in you, in the bright moments of your life, and in the darker ones that give them meaning. Light and darkness, forever twined, a duet, silent yet profound. And from this duet, we move next into a more intimate story of light, not scattered across shadows, but born in flame, the oldest fire we have ever known. From shadows, we now turn toward the oldest companion of light that humans have ever known. Not the distant sun, not the silent stars, but something closer, something intimate, something alive in our very hands. Fire. Fire is ancient. Before words, before cities, before history, there was flame. It danced in caves. It smoked on mountaintops. It glowed in the eyes of those who first gathered around it. For our ancestors, fire was more than warmth. It was safety, protection from the dark and the cold. It was survival, a gift both feared and revered. Imagine those first nights when humans kept fire alive. The world outside was vast, filled with unknown noises, prowling predators, icy winds. And yet, at the center of the circle, flames leapt and crackled, shadows danced on stone walls, faces glowed orange. For the first time, the night was not absolute. Light had been brought down to earth. To look into fire is to look into a living paradox. It is both matter and energy, both destruction and creation. It consumes, yet it also protects. It devours wood, yet it nourishes bodies with warmth. It frightens, yet it comforts. It is alive in a way that is neither creature nor machine, but something in between. Scientists tell us that fire is rapid oxidation, a chain of reactions releasing heat and light. Oxygen feeds carbon, releasing photons, radiating warmth. But to the human soul, fire has never been just chemistry. It is presence. It breathes. It moves with rhythm, swaying, flickering, stretching upward as if reaching for the sky. It sings and crackles and hisses. It glows with endless variety, each flame a dancer in a chorus of light. There is a reason we stare into flames for so long. The mind quiets, thoughts drift, the body relaxes. Some scientists call this the fire trance, a meditative state sparked by flickering light. Our ancestors may have evolved around this rhythm, learning to share stories, to bond, to imagine while sitting before the hearth. Around fire, humanity became human. Think of the hearth in old homes. It was not just a place for cooking, but the heart of the household. Families gathered, shared warmth, passed down tales. The fire was a silent witness to laughter, to sorrow, to generations. Even now, a candle can soften a room, bringing intimacy that no electric bulb can replicate. The flame holds memory older than civilization. But fire is not only comfort, it is also power. It forged tools, hardened clay, shaped metal. It drove engines, carried ships, lit the first cities. Every spark of progress was kindled by flame. To master fire was to master transformation. It turned forests into warmth, stone into pottery, sand into glass, ore into steel. It was the alchemy of survival. And yet, with its gifts came danger. Fire destroys as easily as it gives. Forests burn, homes crumble, whole civilizations have been reduced to ash. It demands respect, a balance of awe and caution. Perhaps that is why so many myths portray fire as stolen from the gods, a sacred power humans were never fully meant to hold. Prometheus, in Greek legend, brought fire from Olympus, defying the divine. In Polynesian myth, Maui wrestled fire from the underworld. In Hindu stories, Agni is the fire god, both friend and unpredictable force. Everywhere, flame was seen as holy, dangerous, transformative. It was more than heat and light. It was connection to the divine. Even in religion today, candles burn in rituals, flames flicker in remembrance. We light them for the dead, for hope, for prayer. Their glow is symbolic, a small contained sun in our hands. The flame becomes a bridge between human fragility and cosmic eternity. But why, even now, do we find fire so hypnotic? Perhaps because it mirrors life itself. Each flame is born, grows, flickers, fades. Each one unique, yet part of a larger glow. It is both fragile and powerful. It teaches us impermanence, the fleeting beauty of things that shine briefly and then vanish. Sit before a campfire and you will notice how time changes. Minutes blur, the mind wanders. The crackling wood becomes music, the sparks become stars racing into the air. You feel smaller, yet safer. The dark forest outside fades into irrelevance, for in this circle of warmth, you are held. Fire is also teacher of transformation. Place raw food upon it, and it becomes nourishing. Place clay upon it, and it becomes durable. Place iron upon it, and it becomes blade. Place thought before it, and it becomes story. It changes not only matter, but meaning. Around flame, Humans first told myths, drew pictures, sang songs. Around flame, imagination itself was born. But now, in our modern world, fire seems distant. Electric lights brighten our rooms. Stoves hum without sparks. Engines burn fuel out of sight. The raw flame is rare. And yet, when we encounter it, a candle, a fireplace, a bonfire on the shore, it still reaches into us. It still reminds us of something ancient. It still whispers, I have been with you since the beginning. Have you noticed how flame is never still? Unlike the steady glow of a bulb, it flickers, dances, responds to every breath of air. This unpredictability is part of its magic. It is alive, reactive, present. Each flicker is a reminder that nothing is fixed, that even light has moods. And within darkness, fire becomes more than visible. It becomes sacred. One candle in a vast hall draws all eyes. A torch in a cave becomes sun and star at once. Its smallness magnifies its meaning. It is not the amount of light that matters, but the presence of flame itself. Think of fireflies on a summer night, tiny sparks pulsing in rhythm. Nature's own lanterns, mirroring the fire we carry. Even the smallest flame holds mystery. Even the faintest glow is enough to shift the night. And so, fire teaches us balance. It says, hold me with care. Do not fear me, but do not forget my power. Use me, but honor me. For I am both life and death, both gift and warning. As you breathe, imagine a small fire before you. Feel its warmth against your skin. Hear the soft crackle of wood. See the orange glow, the sparks drifting upward like tiny stars. Let your mind quiet in its rhythm. Let your body soften into its warmth. You are sitting not just before flame, but before one of the oldest teachers humanity has ever known. And know this, light is never one thing. It is starlight. It is dawn. It is rainbow. It is fire. Each form tells us something new. Each form whispers a lesson. From fire, we learn transformation, danger, intimacy, renewal. And as we leave this circle of flame, we carry its warmth into the next horizon of light. For after fire comes another farewell of brightness, the quiet withdrawal of day into evening, a passage we have already glimpsed and will now follow more deeply into the world of twilight skies. The fire fades to embers, the warmth lingers, but the flames grow quiet. And when you look upward, beyond the circle of glow, you see them, the countless lanterns of the night sky. Stars, silent, patient, scattered across infinity, each one a flame, but not of wood or coal, each one a furnace vast beyond imagination, burning for millions, even billions of years. And yet, from here they seem so gentle, so fragile, like whispers written in silver ink upon a canvas of black. Have you ever felt how stars calm the mind? You gaze upward, and the noise within you softens. Your breath slows. Your thoughts stretch outward, following those tiny points into silence. There is comfort in their distance, a reminder that the universe is vast, and your worries, though real, are small within it. Stars are light's oldest storytellers. Every photon they send has traveled across unimaginable distances. Some began their journey before humans existed. Some began when the earth was still molten, when oceans had not yet formed, when the sky was still filled with dust and fire. And yet, here they are, touching your eyes tonight, turning ancient fire into present wonder. Think of this. The star you see now may already be gone. Its life may have ended long ago, its furnace collapsed, its fire extinguished. But its light continues, carrying the memory of what was. Stars are both present and past, alive and ghostly, their messages arriving across the deep river of time. For our ancestors, stars were not only lights, they were maps. They guided sailors across oceans, led travelers through deserts, told farmers when to plant, when to harvest. The sky was calendar, compass, scripture. Patterns of stars became constellations, and constellations became stories. Orion the hunter, Cassiopeia the queen, the Great Bear, the Southern Cross. Human imagination turned points of fire into mirrors of myth. And yet, beneath the stories, the truth of stars is even more extraordinary. Each one is a sun, each one a sphere of plasma, fusing hydrogen into helium, forging heavier elements in its heart. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe. All were born in stars, created in furnaces so hot that matter itself was reshaped. We are, as Carl Sagan said, star stuff. To look at the night sky is to look at your own origin. But let us not only think of science, let us feel, because science tells us what stars are, but silence tells us what they mean. Imagine lying beneath them on a quiet night. The air is cool, the ground supports you. Above, thousands of points glitter. No two flicker in the same rhythm. Some bright, some faint, some steady, some pulsing. Together, they form a choir without sound. Each one is a lantern. Each one is a story waiting to be heard. There is something profoundly human in watching stars. Children point and wonder. Lovers whisper beneath them. Elders sit quietly, remembering. The stars do not speak, and yet they join every conversation. They do not move toward us, and yet they accompany us. They are distant, yet intimate. Have you ever noticed how stars appear brighter in silence? Far from cities, where the world is dark, the sky comes alive. It is not that the stars have changed, but that the noise of light has fallen away. Darkness, once feared, becomes gift. It allows the lanterns to shine. The ancients built monuments to catch starlight, stone circles aligned with constellations, temples oriented toward rising stars. The pyramids of Egypt, the stones of Stonehenge, all whispered of the same reverence. These lights above are not mere decoration. They are guides. They are messages. They are eternity pressing close. And in every culture, stars carried meaning. In Polynesia, they steered canoes across the Pacific. In China, they mirrored the empire, the heavens a map of the earthly court. In the Andes, people saw constellations not only in the stars, but in the dark spaces between them, shapes of llamas and serpents outlined by absence. Everywhere, stars were woven into human life, threads of myth, navigation, and wonder. Even now, in our modern age, when we know their chemical composition, their distances, their fates, stars remain more than data. Astronomers look through telescopes and weep. Photographers climb mountains to capture them. Writers sit beneath them and find words they did not know they carried. Knowledge has not erased mystery, it has deepened it, because stars are not only what they are what they awaken. They remind us of scale, the vastness beyond our comprehension. They remind us of endurance, burning for billions of years, patient as time itself. They remind us of connection, that the light entering your eyes tonight is the same light that once touched kings and wanderers, the same that will one day touch those who come after you. And so, stars are silent lanterns. They do not shout, they do not demand, they simply shine faithfully, endlessly, whether noticed or not. Let yourself imagine for a moment that each star is a lantern hung for you, each one a companion, a guide through the darkness, a reminder that you are never alone in the vast night. And as you rest, know that the story of light continues. From stars above, we will descend again down into depths where light becomes stranger, rarer, yet no less wondrous. For beneath the oceans, in places where sunlight cannot reach, there are still lanterns. Creatures that glow, beings that carry their own fire within, painting the deep with living light. And so, our journey will flow next into those hidden waters, into the glowing silence of the deep ocean. The stars above are lanterns of the sky, but there are lanterns below as well, hidden in the vast, silent waters of the earth. To journey from the heavens to the ocean's depths is to discover a second cosmos, a universe not above us, but beneath, where light is rare, precious, and alive. Most of the ocean is darkness. Sunlight penetrates only the first few hundred meters. Below that, day and night mean nothing. The deep sea is a realm where shadows are endless, where pressure is crushing, where silence is absolute. And yet, in that darkness, light is born. Bioluminescence, the living light. Creatures of the deep carry their own lanterns, tiny fires within their bodies, glows of blue, green, violet, spilling softly into black waters. It is not borrowed from the sun. It is created, some crafted by cells, released in sparks and glimmers, a galaxy beneath the waves. Imagine drifting down through the layers of ocean. At first, the sunlight fades slowly, blues darkening into indigo. Fish still shimmer silver, rays of light dancing on their scales. But deeper, the silver vanishes, shapes blur, colors fade, until finally there is only black. A black so complete, so total, that it feels like the end of vision itself. And then, suddenly, a flicker, a pulse of blue, a drifting glow like a star moving across the abyss. Another appears, then another. Tiny lanterns scattered through the void. You realize the night sky has returned, but in water. Here, light is not background, but miracle. Every spark matters. Every glow is a signal, a message, a survival. Some creatures flash to startle predators. Sudden bursts of brightness confuse the hunter. Others glow to lure prey, dangling living lights like bait in the dark. Still others shine to find mates, to call across emptiness with coded pulses of radiance. Light here is language, as essential as breath. The anglerfish, with its eerie lure, holds a lantern above its mouth. The hatchetfish gleams silver blue along its belly, erasing its shadow, becoming invisible against faint light above. The jellyfish drifts with veils of glow, shifting colors like whispers in slow motion. Even plankton, The tiniest drifters sparkle when stirred, turning waves into ribbons of fire. This is the paradox of the deep. In the darkest places, life makes its own stars. Think of walking along a beach at night. The waves break, and suddenly they shine, trails of turquoise sparks fading into sand. Bioluminescent plankton, disturbed by motion, ignite for a heartbeat, then vanish. Every step becomes a constellation. Every footprint glows, then dissolves. It is as if the ocean itself is dreaming in light. Why blue? Most bioluminescence shines in shades of blue-green. Because water absorbs other wavelengths, but blue travels farthest in the sea. It is the universal color of the deep, a hue that carries messages across distance, that lingers when all else has faded. And what does it mean that in the loneliest parts of Earth, creatures evolved to shine? Perhaps it tells us something profound, that even in places where sunlight never reaches, life still seeks brightness. That survival is not only about enduring, but about glowing, about making presence known. There is something deeply human in that truth. We too live in darkness at times, moments of grief, of solitude, of uncertainty, and yet even then, we carry sparks inside us. Memories, dreams, hopes, tiny lanterns in our own depths, flaring just enough to keep us moving. The ocean's lights are more than survival, they are beauty. To witness them is to watch a slow-motion ballet. Lanternfish drift in schools, their bodies dotted with glowing points, like strings of stars weaving through blackness. Squid flash patterns across their skin, messages and pulses of radiance, as though writing sentences of light. Some creatures burst into showers of sparks when threatened, like underwater fireworks blooming, then vanishing into silence. It is no wonder sailors once told stories of seas alive with fire, of glowing waves that stretch to the horizon, of ships leaving trails of flame in their wake. They were not wrong. The ocean does burn with light, but it is a fire of biology, a fire without heat, a fire that belongs to life itself. Science explains the chemistry. Luciferin, the molecule that glows; luciferase, the enzyme that triggers it; a reaction with oxygen, a spark of energy released not as heat, but as light; efficient, cold fire, the mathematics of survival written in shimmer. But explanation does not erase wonder. Even when we know the formula, the sight still stops the breath. Imagine drifting deeper still. A submersible floats silently, its lights turned off. Through its window, you see only black. Then slowly, faint glows appear. A jellyfish spirals, its tendrils glowing violet. A fish drifts with lanterns along its side. Tiny sparks rise like embers in invisible currents. You realize you are surrounded by galaxies, not above you, but all around, in a sea that has become sky. And perhaps that is the lesson of the deep. That light is not only above us, but within life itself. That even where no sun shines, the impulse to glow remains. Life refuses to be unseen. Poets could say, the deep sea is the mirror of the night sky. Stars above, lanterns below, infinite spaces, infinite sparks, silence in both, and yet messages written everywhere. Perhaps the universe loves symmetry. Perhaps it gave us two skies, one above, one beneath. Have you ever floated in water at night, looking upward at stars, while around you the sea itself glowed with plankton. Sky and ocean blur, the two infinities meeting above and below. You are suspended between galaxies, a single breath in the middle of two eternities. And yet, for all its beauty, the deep ocean remains mystery. We have mapped the surface of Mars more thoroughly than our own seabeds. Much of it is unexplored, unseen. Perhaps countless lights drift there, creatures yet unknown, waiting in blackness with lanterns of their own. There is humility in this thought, that we, who stare at stars and galaxies, still do not fully know the glowing life beneath our feet. That wonder exists not only in distance, but in the depths close to home. As you breathe, imagine the ocean wrapping around you, cool, infinite, dark. And in that dark, faint glows bloom, pulses of blue, arcs of green, soft sparks drifting in currents. Each one a heartbeat, each one a presence, each one saying, I am here. The stars above may be silent lanterns, but the sea below is a living constellation, always moving, always changing, always shimmering with secrets. And from these depths, our journey with light continues. For light is not only fire, not only stars, not only rainbows and oceans. It is also memory, the way photons carry stories of the past, reminding us that even what has faded still glows. The ocean's lanterns fade into the silence of thought. And now, let us turn to another form of light, not only a presence in the world, but a keeper of time itself. For light does not only illuminate, it remembers. Light is memory. Every photon is a messenger from the past. The star you see tonight may have burned its last fire long ago, and yet its light is still traveling, still arriving, still whispering of what once was. When you look upward, you are not only seeing distance, you are seeing history. The universe is not just space, it is memory written in light. Think of the Andromeda galaxy, shining faintly to the naked eye. Its light takes over 2 million years to reach us. When you gaze at it, you are looking into a past older than humanity. Dinosaurs walked the earth when those photons began their journey. Yet here they are, touching your eyes in this very moment. Even the sun, closest of all stars, is not immediate. Its light takes 8 minutes to reach Earth. Every sunrise you see is already past. Every ray of warmth on your skin is history, arriving slightly late, like a letter that traveled across space. In this way, light is the memory of the cosmos. It carries the stories of what has happened long after the events themselves have passed. Supernovae explode in brilliance, and their light travels for centuries, announcing across time, I was here. And here on Earth, light is also memory. A photograph is frozen light, the image of a face, a place, a moment, captured by photons that struck a lens, fixed into chemical film or digital code. To hold a picture is to hold trapped light, still glowing with the past. Mirrors, too, are memory in motion. They do not keep the past for long, but for an instant they hold your image. Every glance is a meeting with photons that left your skin, bounced, and returned to you. A fleeting echo of yourself, always slipping away, always replaced by the next. Have you ever seen dust swirling in a shaft of sunlight? Each mote glows for a moment, lit by photons that may have traveled from the heart of the sun through millions of years, through 8 minutes of space, through the window pane, only to end its journey on a particle of dust, making it shimmer briefly before vanishing. That shimmer is a memory ending its long story. And what of our own inner worlds? Memory itself often feels like light. We say we see memories. We picture them in flashes, in images that glow in the mind. A childhood room lit by morning sun, the face of a friend caught in golden hour, the glimmer of water on a summer day. Our past is illuminated not in words, but in light. There is a tenderness in this connection, that the same photons that shaped the universe's history also shape our private histories, that the cosmos remembers in starlight, and we remember in inner glow. Light is also memory in the way it lingers. Close your eyes after staring at brightness, and you will see after images, phantoms of color, shadows of form. The retina holds on, even when the light has gone, a reminder that nothing leaves without leaving something behind. Even shadows are memory. They are records of where light could not go. They tell us the position of the sun, the shape of the world. A sundial measures time not with numbers, but with shadows. Absence becomes story. Darkness becomes clock. And so, memory is not only in the mind, it is etched into every play of light and shadow, every reflection, every photograph, every starlit night. Consider the moon. It does not shine its own light. It reflects the sun. Every glow upon its surface is memory, a reminder of sunlight that has traveled across space, bounced upon rock, and reached us again. Moonlight is borrowed memory, a reflection of a reflection, a softer echo of the day. Even fire is memory. Every spark is the release of sunlight stored in wood, locked away by trees through photosynthesis, collected from rays long past. When you burn a log, you are watching ancient sunlight return, a memory of summer released into warmth and flame. Is this not beautiful, that every flame, every glow, is the universe remembering itself? And perhaps this is why light feels so connected to emotion. We speak of light in the eyes of those we love. We recall people not only in their voices or words, but in the way they looked in certain light, the evening sun through their hair, the candle flame on their face. Light holds presence. Light keeps memory alive. Think of an old photograph found in a drawer. The paper is faded, the edges curled, but when you look, you see not only the image, you feel the moment. The light of that day has survived, crossed decades, and now enters your eyes again. It is as though time itself folded. Stars, photographs, fire, mirrors, shadows, all are archives of light. All are ways in which the universe whispers, what has been is not gone. It glows still, somewhere, somehow. And you too are part of this. Every cell in your body carries light, biophotons, tiny sparks emitted by living tissue. Science measures them faintly, but they exist. You glow, subtly, invisibly, a living archive of light. You carry memory not only in mind, but in body. So when you think of memory, do not think of it as static. Think of it as radiance, something that moves, that travels, that lingers, that touches. Light as memory means that nothing is truly lost. The stars that have died still shine. The days that have passed still flicker in images and feelings. The warmth of someone long gone still glows in your recollection. Light does not end, it only travels. As you rest, let this thought settle that you are surrounded by memories, not only in your mind, but in the very photons falling around you. Every ray is a history, every glow is a story, every shadow is a record. And from this truth, our journey of light moves onward. For after memory comes reflection, not only of the past, but of the present moment, mirrored in glass, mirrored in water, mirrored in the soul. Light remembers. But memory is not only carried across time, it is also carried in reflection. For light is not content merely to shine, it turns back, it echoes, it creates mirrors. Every reflection you see is a dialogue between light and surface, a lake at dusk holding the sky in its still water, a piece of glass catching the shape of your face, even the faint gleam of a spoon or window pane. All of these are mirrors, all of them conversations with photons. What is a mirror truly? It is not an object that creates an image. It is a surface that returns light to you, faithfully, patiently, without judgment. A mirror does not choose what to show. It reflects whatever appears before it. It does not lie, but it also does not interpret. It gives back what it receives. And in that way, mirrors are more than surfaces. They are metaphors. They remind us that perception is always reflection, that what we see in others and what others see in us is a play of light, a shimmering of surfaces, a dance between inner truth and outer glow. Have you ever stared into your own reflection for too long? At first, it feels familiar, then strangely foreign. The eyes look back, but they are not quite yours. You realize that a mirror does not only show appearance, it shows mystery. It makes you question, what is surface? What is self? What is truly being reflected? Philosophers and poets have long turned to mirrors for metaphor. In Shakespeare, a mirror shows truth. In Eastern traditions, the mind is called a mirror, clouded by dust, but capable of being polished into clarity. Mystics spoke of mirrors as tools of revelation, portals between the visible and the invisible. And science, too, has pursued mirrors. From polished bronze to silvered glass, humans have sought to perfect reflection. Telescopes, vast eyes of humanity, are essentially mirrors, catching the faintest light of stars, turning them into images we can study, transforming whispers of photons into visions of galaxies. Microscopes, too, rely on reflection and refraction, bending light to show us what was once unseen. Through mirrors, the universe reveals both the vast and the tiny. But mirrors are not only in objects, they are in nature. A still pond reflects clouds drifting above. A wet stone shines with passing sky. Even the pupil of an eye is a mirror, returning a miniature image of the world. Everywhere, light doubles itself, reminding us that nothing exists in isolation. There is a delicate beauty in the way mirrors blur truth and illusion, because while they show, they also deceive. They reverse left and right. They distort in curves. A funhouse mirror stretches the body into impossible shapes. Rippling water breaks the moon into shards. Yet even in distortion, They reveal something real, the playfulness of perception, the instability of certainty. And what of the soul? Is it not also a mirror? When you look into another's eyes, you see yourself reflected back. Their gaze holds your presence. Their pupils catch your light. It is said the eyes are windows to the soul, but perhaps they are mirrors instead, not openings outward, but reflections inward, showing us pieces of ourselves we could not otherwise see. In psychology, there is the idea of the mirror stage, when infants first recognize their reflection, realizing that the image is themselves. This is not just a discovery of the body, but of identity. To know oneself is to see oneself, to be mirrored in glass, in others, in memory. And perhaps this is why mirrors often haunt us. In myth and legend, they are gateways. Alice steps through the looking glass. Narcissus falls in love with his reflection. Witches scry in mirrors, seeking visions of what lies beyond. The mirror is never just surface, it is threshold. Consider also how mirrors can hold memory, not in the way of photographs, but in the way of repetition. Each morning, you stand before one. Each night, you return. The same surface has reflected you through every change. Your face as a child, your face now, your face in years to come. The mirror remembers, though it never speaks. And water. Water is the oldest mirror of all. Before glass, before silver, humans saw themselves in rivers, in ponds, in rain-filled stone basins. The ancients believed reflections held souls, that ripples disturbed more than water. Even now, when you lean over a quiet lake, there is a sense of reverence. The reflection is you, but also something other, something softer, something temporary, because reflections are fragile. One breath of wind, and the image shatters. One ripple, and the world bends. Mirrors remind us that identity itself is not fixed, but shifting, fragile, playful. Think also of the moon on water. A single glow above becomes countless glimmers below, scattered, trembling, broken, yet beautiful. The moon itself is unchanged, but the reflection multiplies its light. Perhaps the soul works the same, one essence, countless reflections in memory, in relationships, in love. Even shadows can be thought of as mirrors of absence. They do not return light, but they mark its path. They show where it was blocked, where it could not reach. In this way, they are negative reflections, reminders that mirrors need not be bright to tell their stories. And within us, memory and reflection join. When you recall a moment, you reflect upon it. You see it again, not as it was, but as it appears now in the mirror of the mind. The past is never returned untouched. It is refracted, reshaped, like light bent through glass. Perhaps that is why we often feel nostalgia as both joy and sorrow. The mirror of memory shows beauty, but it also reminds us of loss. It reflects, but never perfectly. Yet, even in imperfection, there is truth. For the soul is not glass to be polished into clarity. It is water, rippling, reflecting, always changing with each breath of wind. As you rest now, imagine yourself before a great mirror, not one of silver or glass, but one of still water, stretching outward under starlight. You lean closer, your face appears, softened by ripples, blended with sky. You realize you are both yourself and more, a reflection among reflections, a fragment of light returned. And when you turn away, the water holds nothing. The image fades, the mirror forgets, but the truth remains. You were there, and the light knew you. Mirrors of the world, mirrors of the soul, they teach us that seeing is always doubling, that identity is always shared, that light is always returned in some form. And from this understanding, our journey of light flows onward, for reflection leads naturally to shadow, to silhouettes, to outlines, to the shapes that define by absence as much as by glow. Next, we will wander into those forms, into the realm of silhouettes and shadows, where light reveals not only what is, but what lingers at its edges. Every reflection carries light back to us. But what of the places light cannot reach? What of the shapes born not from brightness, but from its absence? Shadows, silhouettes, the quiet outlines that appear wherever light and matter meet. Shadows are as ancient as light itself. The first humans, sitting by fire, saw their bodies cast in dark shapes on the walls of caves. Those shadows danced when the flames flickered, mimicking gestures, stretching, shrinking, multiplying. They were both familiar and strange, companions made of absence, and perhaps that was the beginning of myth. To see one's shadow was to realize light reveals not only what is present, but what is hidden. The self doubled, the world layered, reality haunted by outline. What is a shadow truly? It is not substance. It has no weight, no matter, no sound. It is simply where photons have been blocked. The straight path of light interrupted, leaving a mark of absence. In this way, shadows are records, traces of resistance, maps of interruption. Science describes them easily, but to the soul, shadows are not so simple. They carry mystery, they whisper of the unknown. They remind us that wherever light shines, something is hidden too. Silhouettes are cousins of shadow. While shadows fall behind objects, silhouettes stand before us, the dark form outlined against brightness. A bird crossing the sun, a tree against a glowing sky, a figure walking at dusk, its details erased, its presence reduced to outline. In silhouettes, individuality disappears and essence remains. There's a strange beauty in this reduction. When details vanish, shape becomes pure. The outline of a mountain at sunset, the arc of a bridge in twilight, the curve of a face seen only in profile, black against the fading glow. Silhouettes remind us that simplicity can be profound. Artists have long understood this. In shadow puppetry, stories are told not with faces and expressions, but with outlines. In painting, contrast between light and shadow creates depth, gives life to form. In photography, silhouettes capture emotion not by showing more, but by showing less. What is hidden can be as powerful as what is revealed. And in life, too, we live among shadows. We carry them within us. Carl Jung spoke of the shadow self, the parts of us unacknowledged, hidden from the light of consciousness. Not evil, not to be feared, but to be known, for only by embracing our shadow do we become whole. Have you ever noticed how your shadow accompanies you? It stretches in morning light, long and thin, then shortens at noon, then grows again at evening. It bends across grass, climbs walls, hides underfoot. It is your silent companion, following always, yet never quite you. There is something humbling in this, to know that wherever you walk, a part of you is cast beyond your body, that you are never only what others see, but also the shape you block, the space you take, the darkness you leave. Shadows are also clocks. The earliest timekeepers were sundials, measuring hours by shadow's length. The day unfolded not by numbers, but by the shifting dark across stone. Even now we know time through light and shadow. Morning and evening are nothing but long shadows, noon nothing but their vanishing. Have you ever stood in the shadow of a tree in summer? Coolness pools beneath its leaves, a relief from burning sun. Here, shadow is not emptiness, but comfort, not fear, but protection. Every creature knows this. Animals rest in shade, plants hide in it, people seek it in desert heat. Shadow is sanctuary, yet shadows also hold unease. In the corner of a room, in the dimness of an alley, in the depths of a forest at night, we imagine presences. Our minds fill the dark with possibility, sometimes gentle, sometimes terrifying. Shadows awaken imagination, for they are never complete. They hint, but they do not tell. And silhouettes, too, stir emotion. The figure in the distance, seen against a glowing sky, could be friend or stranger. Its lack of detail forces us to wonder. Silhouette is mystery embodied. It reminds us that presence can be known without being fully seen. Think of twilight, when the sun has set but the world still glows. Trees turn to dark cutouts, buildings to black shapes against fading blue. It is one of the most beautiful times of day, precisely because detail dissolves. The world becomes painting, reduced to outline and hue. Even the moon casts shadows. Walk under its glow, and faint silhouettes stretch across the ground. Though soft, though ghostly, they are still there, reminders that even borrowed light creates its echoes. In literature, shadows are everywhere. They symbolize secrets, hidden truths, doubts, fears, desires. But they also symbolize depth, the richness of complexity, the truth that nothing is pure brightness. Every story needs shadow, just as every canvas needs contrast. And in your own heart, you may feel this too. There are parts of you that glow, visible to all, and parts that remain in shadow, known only to you, perhaps even hidden from yourself. But those shadows are not absence. They are part of your silhouette, part of your wholeness. To embrace light is to embrace shadow as well. Think of a candle in a room. It casts both glow and shadow. Without the shadow, the flame would not seem so warm. Without the darkness, its circle would not feel so safe. The two exist together, inseparable, partners in the same dance. And so, shadows and silhouettes remind us, light is never alone. It always shapes, always defines, always creates companions of absence. As you breathe slowly now, imagine standing in twilight. Before you, a tree rises, its branches black against the fading sky. The world is hushed. Your own shadow stretches beside it, merging with the silhouettes around you. You realize you are both brightness and dark outline, both presence and absence, both glow and shadow. This truth is not frightening. It is grounding. It tells you that being human is not about shining perfectly, but about holding both, about being both figure and silhouette, both flame and shade. And as the night deepens, let yourself rest in this balance. Shadows lengthen, silhouettes sharpen, and the world becomes softer, quieter, more whole. From here, our journey of light will move again, for after shadow comes another dimension of radiance, color, the spectrum of feeling and meaning that light scatters across our minds. And so, next, we drift into the language of colors to learn how light speaks not only in brightness, not only in shadow, but in the hues that stir our hearts. Every shadow has its outline, and every beam of light its hue. For light is not only brightness, not only memory, not only reflection or shadow, it is also color, the gentle, infinite language through which the universe speaks. When white light passes through a prism, it separates into a spectrum: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, the familiar arc of the rainbow. But in truth, those are only markers, labels upon a continuum that has no cleared edges. Between each lies endless gradation, subtle tones, hidden shades. Color is light stretched into vocabulary. What is color truly? It is not something objects possess. It is something light creates in us. A leaf is not green by itself. It absorbs every wavelength except green, which it reflects to our eyes. The greenness exists only in the meeting of light, object, and perception. Color is not property, but relationship. And yet, this relationship has shaped human life in countless ways. Colors carry meaning. They stir emotion. They build memory. They guide action. Red alerts, warns, excites. Blue calms, cools, expands. Green comforts, restores, soothes. Yellow awakens, energizes, glows. Violet whispers of mystery, of spirit, of imagination. The spectrum is not just physics, it is feeling. Think of dawn. Its pale pinks and soft golds ease us gently into waking. Think of midday. The bright blue sky fills us with clarity and alertness. Think of sunset. The fiery reds and oranges warm us as we slow into rest. Colors are clocks, marking our moods as much as our hours. Psychologists have studied this language. Red increases heartbeat, stimulates appetite, sparks urgency. That is why it appears on signs, on ripe fruit, on the lips of love. Blue lowers blood pressure, slows breathing, invites contemplation. That is why it fills hospital rooms, bedrooms, paintings of serenity. Yellow stimulates attention, green restores balance, violet awakens imagination. Light speaks to body and soul alike. Its hues a silent dialogue woven into every day. Cultures, too, have given colors their own stories. In ancient Egypt, green meant fertility and rebirth. In China, red is luck, prosperity, joy. In Japan, white is purity, but also mourning. In Europe, purple once marked royalty, its dyes so rare they were reserved for kings. Every culture paints its emotions upon the spectrum, turning physics into myth. And yet, for all these meanings, color remains deeply personal. One shade of blue may remind you of childhood skies. One red may call to mind the warmth of a beloved sweater. Colors are universal, but they are also intimate. Each hue carrying your own story. Artists chase this endlessly. Painters layer pigments, seeking not only representation, but feeling. Van Gogh's yellows burn with restless life. Monet's blues shimmer with tranquility. Every brushstroke is a sentence in the language of color, a phrase meant to be read not by the mind alone, but by the heart. Even in music, color appears. Composers speak of timbre as color, the difference between violin and flute, between whisper and roar. Synesthetes hear sounds as colors, see colors as sounds, their senses braided into one river of perception. For them, the universe is painted in symphonies, and in dreams, too, colors speak. Some say dreams in black and white are lifeless, but when color appears, a crimson flower, a golden sky, a deep green forest, it carries weight beyond words. The subconscious paints in hues we cannot always name, but always feel. There is also science in this. Our eyes contain cones, cells sensitive to wavelengths of light. Most humans have 3 types: red, green, blue. From these, the brain constructs every shade we see, but not all eyes are the same. Some people lack certain cones, and the rainbow shifts for them. Others, rare, may have a 4th type of cone, seeing colors invisible to most. Every vision of color is unique, a private dialect of light. And what of creatures beyond us? Bees see ultraviolet, patterns on flowers invisible to us. Birds perceive colors richer than our palate allows. The mantis shrimp, with its dozen types of cones, lives in a world of unimaginable hues. What we call the language of colors is only one dialect in an infinite chorus. Yet even within our narrow range, the conversation is endless. Think of stained glass in a cathedral, sunlight pouring through ruby and sapphire panes. Think of markets filled with cloth and fruit, a tapestry of tones calling to the senses. Think of a single candle flame, its orange glow turning shadows warm. Light does not need words, it speaks in colors. And perhaps this is why we find rainbows so enchanting. They remind us that color is always more than we can name, that behind every shade is infinity, that light carries meanings far beyond vocabulary. Have you ever noticed how colors shift with mood? On a happy day, the sky seems bluer, the grass greener. On a heavy day, the same hues dull, fade, lose vibrancy. The world does not change. We do. Color is reflection, not only of light, but of spirit. In literature, color paints meaning too. White is innocence, but also emptiness. Black is grief, but also elegance. Gold is wealth, but also longing. Every story written in words is also written in color, and within you there are colors unseen. Emotions are often described in their hues. We say feeling blue, seeing red, green with envy. But these are not just metaphors. They are echoes of how light and soul intertwine. Imagine now, sitting in a quiet garden. Leaves stretch in deep green. Flowers bloom in crimson, violet, gold. The sky fades from azure to rose as the sun sets. You breathe, and each color seems to touch you, not just through eyes, but through spirit. You realize this is language, not written, not spoken, but felt. For the universe is always speaking, and color is its gentlest tongue. It tells you when to wake, when to rest, when to feel warmth, when to lean into calm. It reminds you that life is never one shade, but a spectrum, a gradient, a painting without end. As you rest here, surrounded by this silent vocabulary, let yourself drift into its hues. Imagine being wrapped in blue, floating in calm. Imagine being warmed by gold, held by light. Imagine being touched by violet, opened to mystery. Each breath a color, each heartbeat a shade, each thought a ripple of spectrum. And remember this: to live is to be colored by moments, by people, by memory. No life is gray forever. No soul is without palette. We are canvases of light, painted daily by the world around us and by the worlds within us. And so, the journey of light continues. From colors, we will move into sacredness, the way light has always been revered as holy, a symbol of spirit, a bridge to the divine. Colors surround us like whispers. But for as long as humans have walked the earth, light has been more than color, more than vision. It has been sacred, a symbol of spirit, a bridge between the human and the divine. From the earliest fires kept in caves, to the candles glowing in temples, to the radiant stained glass of cathedrals, light has always carried more than illumination. It has carried meaning. It has carried reverence. Why? Because light feels eternal. It arrives without weight, yet it changes everything it touches. It banishes fear, guides footsteps, warms the skin. But more than this, light awakens something within. When we see brightness pierce darkness, we feel hope, we feel presence, we feel the possibility of spirit. In ancient times, entire rituals centered on flame. The hearth was sacred in Greece, kept by the goddess Hestia. Romans tended the eternal fire of Vesta, never letting it go out, for its glow was the city's soul. In Persia, the fire temples of Zoroastrians burned with steady flame, symbols of purity, of divine truth. And in Vedic India, the god Agni was fire itself, the messenger between mortals and gods. Every offering cast into flame was believed to rise, carried on light into the realm of spirit. Even beyond myth, fire was survival, and survival is sacred. To keep flame alive through long winters was to keep life itself alive. And so, the tending of light became prayer, whether named as such or not. Candles followed, small flames contained in wax, but carrying enormous weight of meaning. A single candle in the dark is enough to change a room. It flickers, it breathes, it holds attention. No wonder we light candles for the dead, for hope, for prayer, for love. Each wick carries intention. Each glow is a word spoken without sound. Step into a cathedral. Sunlight pours through stained glass, splintering into hues of ruby and sapphire, painting stone walls with living radiance. For believers, it is not just architecture. It is heaven breaking into earth. It is spirit clothed in light. The very building becomes a lantern, and those within it bathe in sacred color. In Buddhism, lamps are offered to the Buddha. In Hindu temples, flames circle idols, the ritual of arti, where light becomes blessing, where devotees wave fire before the divine and then carry that glow back to their own hearts. In Judaism, the menorah burns with 7 flames, ancient symbol of spirit enduring through centuries. In Christianity, the Easter Vigil begins with a single flame, spread candle to candle until darkness is conquered by community light. Everywhere, light is prayer. Everywhere, light is symbol. It points beyond itself toward what cannot be named. But not only religion, in personal life too, light becomes sacred. A lantern lit in memory of someone lost, a candle glowing in the window, a sign of welcome, a promise of return, a campfire where voices soften, where silence is respected, where stories feel truer under flickering glow. In such moments, light is not utility. It is presence. It is soul. Have you noticed how halos appear in art? Painters of many faiths depicted saints, deities, prophets with circles of light around their heads. These halos are not physical. They are symbols. They tell us, this one carries radiance. This one glows with more than human fire. Light is the language of sanctity. Even in nature, sacred lights appear. The aurora at polar skies, curtains of green and violet, long seen as messages from gods or ancestors. Lightning striking across storm clouds, a sudden divine command. The rising sun greeted with chants, its return proof that the world endures. Sacredness is not always human-made. Sometimes the earth itself lights candles. But what does it mean truly that we call light sacred? Perhaps it is because light cannot be grasped. You cannot hold it in your hand. You cannot keep it for yourself. It is gift, always passing, always moving. And so it feels like spirit, something beyond possession, something given freely, something that reminds us of what is greater. Science tells us photons are particles, waves of electromagnetic radiation, quantifiable, measurable. Yet when we step into a temple lit by flame, or stand on a mountaintop at sunrise, or hold a candle in silence, we do not feel equations. We feel reverence, and that too is truth. Truth of the heart, truth of the soul, truth that transcends measurement. Light as sacred is not only about ritual, it is about recognition. It is the acknowledgement that something so ordinary is also extraordinary, that the same glow lighting a kitchen can, in a moment of stillness, become holy. Sacredness is not in the flame itself, but in the attention we give it, in the presence we allow it. Think of Diwali, the festival of lights in India. Houses, streets, temples glow with lamps. It is more than decoration. It is celebration of victory over darkness, of knowledge over ignorance, of life over despair. Every lamp says, light endures. Every glow says, hope returns. Or think of Hanukkah, the festival of dedication. The menorah burns night after night, a flame that remembers survival, a flame that resists forgetting. The glow is not just ritual, it is history illuminated. Or think of a vigil. A crowd holds candles in silence, each flame small, yet together forming a field of stars. It is collective sacredness, light woven into community, into grief, into hope. Sacred light is always shared. It multiplies. One flame passes to another and another until the darkness is filled. The mathematics of spirit is abundance. Light grows when given, and within you too there is sacred light. Every culture has said this in some form, a spark in the heart, a flame in the soul, a divine glow within the body. Even science agrees in its own way, measuring the tiny photons released by living cells. You shine, even if faintly, even if unseen. The sacred is not only outside you, it is within you, waiting, burning, glowing. As you rest now, imagine a candle before you, its flame small but steady. Notice how it leans when you breathe, how it bends when air stirs. Notice how it holds its shape, yet is never the same. This flame is fragile, but it is also eternal. It is both vulnerable and holy. It is like you, and as you drift, let yourself feel the sacredness of every glow. The candle, the sunrise, the star, the ember. All of them are part of one truth. Light is more than physics. It is prayer, it is blessing, it is presence. From sacred lights, our path of journeying continues, for what is holy also heals. The same glow that lifts spirit also restores body. The same light that connects us to the divine also nurtures our cells, balances our rhythms, guides our sleep. And so, we move next into the healing of light, the gentle ways it tends both flesh and soul, the quiet medicine that has always been shining above us, around us, and within us. Light is sacred, yes, but it is also something more intimate, a healer. For as long as life has existed, light has been medicine, offering balance, growth, restoration. It touches body and soul alike, quietly tending to what is fragile. Begin with the sun. Every living being on earth depends upon it. Its rays strike leaves, driving photosynthesis, creating food, turning air into breath. Without sunlight, plants would wither, and all creatures would fade with them. In this way, light is the first nourishment, the silent doctor of the planet. But for us humans, sunlight does more than feed. It heals, it guides, it reminds our bodies how to keep rhythm. Inside every cell, there is a clock, a tiny cycle ticking with the rise and fall of light. Morning brightness tells the body, awaken. Night's darkness tells it, rest. This is circadian rhythm, the daily dance of hormones and cycles. When we lose touch with light, our sleep falters, our minds grow restless. But when we honor it, we find balance again. Sunlight also creates vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. A few minutes of glow upon the skin, and the body crafts what bones need, what immune cells require, what the heart depends upon. In northern winters, when light is scarce, people often feel heavy, a weight upon the spirit. Doctors call it seasonal affective disorder, but often the cure is simple: more light. A lamp, a window, a walk in the pale sun, a return to brightness. And light does more. It cleanses. Hospitals once placed patients in solariums, knowing that sunlight kills germs. Even now, UV light sterilizes tools, purifies water, keeps spaces safe. The same rays that warm us also defend us. But healing is not only physical. Light soothes the mind. Have you ever sat in a darkened room, lit only by a candle? The flicker calms, the eyes soften, the heart slows. It is not the brightness that heals, but the gentleness. Too much light agitates, too little weighs heavy. But the right glow is medicine. Artists and therapists know this well. Light therapy, exposing patients to bright lamps, helps ease depression, restores mood. Colors themselves are used in therapy: blue to calm, yellow to energize, green to restore balance. Even architecture is medicine when it channels light. Rooms filled with windows heal faster than those in shadow. Spaces designed for daylight nurture body and spirit together. There is also something ancient in this. Healing rituals everywhere use light: bonfires to cleanse communities, lanterns lit for the sick, candles burned in prayer for health. The glow itself feels restorative, as though light could carry pain away. And maybe it can, because healing is not always curing. Sometimes it is comfort, sometimes it is reminder, sometimes it is simply presence. Light does all of these. Think of lying beneath the sun after sorrow. At first, the warmth feels indifferent, but slowly it seeps into you, eases tension, loosens the knots of grief. You rise not cured, but steadied. This too is healing. Or think of walking beneath street lamps after a long day. Their amber glow does not fix your burdens, but it guides your steps, keeps you safe, reminds you that you are not alone in the night. This, too, is healing. Or think of starlight, distant, ancient, yet still arriving. You gaze upward and feel smaller, but also held. The stars do not solve your struggles, but they offer perspective, and perspective is medicine of its own kind. There is science here, yes, but there is also mystery, because healing often resists explanation. Why does a sunrise make the heart lighter? Why does candlelight ease anxiety? Why does moonlight soften loneliness? The answer is partly chemical, partly psychological, but mostly poetic. Light carries meaning. Meaning heals. Even within us, light plays its role. Cells emit faint photons, biophotons, tiny sparks invisible to the eye. Some scientists believe they help cells communicate, like whispers of light moving between molecules. If so, then healing may literally be brightness, passing from one cell to another, a quiet chorus of radiance, sustaining life from within. Poets and mystics have always intuited this. They speak of inner light, a flame in the soul, a spark that heals the weary. They say meditation reveals it, prayer nurtures it, silence protects it. And perhaps they are right, for healing often begins not in medicine, but in presence, in finding again the glow we forgot was within us. Have you ever noticed how grief feels like shadow, but hope feels like brightness? When someone sits beside you, their presence feels like light. When they leave, you say the room feels darker. These are not accidents of language. They are truths of perception. We heal in light, whether sunlight or soul light, whether photons or compassion. Think of children drawing. They always use bright colors: yellow suns, green fields, red houses. Their world is not gray. Their play is filled with light, and in that brightness is joy, a joy that is medicine. Think of elders sitting by windows. They lean toward sunlight, letting it rest upon their skin. They do not need to name it. They only need to feel it. And in that feeling, they heal, not fully, not forever, but enough. Light as healing is not about removing all pain. It is about reminding us that we are not alone in it. It is about holding us, softening edges, guiding us through. And so, as you rest now, imagine yourself bathed in gentle glow, not harsh, not blinding, but warm, steady, kind. It flows across your skin, settles in your chest, moves into every thought. You are being tended, you are being held, you are being healed in ways both known and unknown. Because light does not need to explain itself, it only needs to shine. And in shining, it gives. From sacred lights to healing ones, our journey continues. For after we explore how light restores, we will follow a single photon from its birth in the heart of a star to its arrival here, a traveler carrying memory, a messenger across space and time. Every flame carries ancient sunlight. Every ray of warmth is history, arriving late. But let us follow one photon in particular. Let us imagine its long journey, a path so improbable, yet so faithful that it connects the heart of a star to the eyes of a human being. Deep inside the sun, far below the surface we see, is a core of unimaginable heat and pressure. Here, hydrogen atoms collide with such force that they fuse, becoming helium, releasing energy in the form of photons. Our story begins with one such photon, born in fire 15 million degrees hot, a spark of light in the crowded heart of a star. It does not rush outward immediately. The way is not open. The core is dense, packed with particles. Every time the photon tries to move, it strikes something, an electron, an ion, and scatters in a new direction. Step forward, bounce back, step sideways, bounce again. Its journey is a staggering maze, a random walk through blazing matter. How long does it wander? Thousands, even millions of years. Our photon is patient. It knows nothing of time. It only moves, scattering, colliding, waiting for the rare chance to escape. Every moment it is delayed, but every moment it persists. For that is the nature of light, to keep moving, even when hindered. At last, after an age, the photon reaches the outer layers of the sun. The crowd thins, the path opens, and suddenly, freedom. No longer trapped, it bursts into space, racing at the fastest speed possible, a speed nothing can surpass, the speed of light. From that instant, its journey becomes direct, straight across 93 million miles of emptiness. In just 8 minutes, it will cross the gulf from sun to earth. 8 minutes. After millions of years wandering inside, its final dash is swift. Along the way, it passes planets, dust, magnetic fields. It could miss Earth entirely. It could strike another world. It could be lost to space. But by chance, by alignment, it arrives here. Some photons fall on oceans, scattering into shimmer. Some strike trees, feeding leaves in photosynthesis. Some fall on desert stones, warming them to hold the night's chill at bay. And some, rare among billions, enter the eyes of living beings. They spark vision. They become memory. They are transformed into thought. Our photon, at last, finds such a path. It travels through atmosphere, bending slightly as it strikes air molecules, its color shifted, its direction adjusted. Then it enters an eye. It touches the retina, triggers a chemical reaction, a cascade of signals rushing into the brain. And there, our photon becomes perception. It becomes sight. It becomes moment. Imagine this: a particle of light, born in the furnace of a star, spending millions of years escaping, racing through space, crossing emptiness, finally ending its journey by helping someone see a flower, or a face, or the lines of this very page. That is the miracle of a photon. That is the intimacy of the cosmos. And though our story followed one, billions make this journey constantly. They pour from the sun in rivers. They fall across earth in floods. They sustain every plant, every heartbeat, every thought. We live in oceans of photons. We are shaped by their endless arrivals. But not all photons come from the sun. Some are far older. Some were born in the first moments after the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, the faint, ancient light that still fills the universe, cool now, stretched thin by expansion, but still here, still arriving, still whispering of the dawn of time. Others are born in distant stars, supernovae exploding, galaxies colliding. They travel for billions of years, across spaces so vast we cannot imagine them. When they reach us, they tell stories of places long gone, of fires that burned before Earth was even formed. Every telescope is a catcher of ancient photons, gathering their messages, turning them into images of galaxies, clusters, nebulae. To look through a telescope is to read history, not in words, but in light. But our single photon, the one we followed, reminds us of something deeply human, that we are connected to stars, that every glance, every moment of sight is powered by journeys so vast we can scarcely comprehend them, that the act of seeing is cosmic communion. And perhaps there is a lesson here, for if a photon can wander for millions of years, lost, delayed, scattered, yet still find its way to an eye, then maybe we too can endure delay. Maybe we too can persist through obstacles, trusting that one day our journey will reach its place of meaning. Photons do not despair. They only travel. They only move. They only shine. And when their story ends, it becomes another story within another being, a vision, a memory, a thought. As you breathe now, imagine yourself as that photon, born in fire, delayed, scattered, wandering, but always moving, always reaching, always destined to arrive. Your journey, too, is filled with collisions, with turns, with delays. But still you travel, still you shine, still you carry something essential forward. And when at last you arrive, you will not be lost. You will become part of another story. Your light will join the great ocean of light, as it always has, as it always will. For light does not end. It only changes place. It only shifts form. It only continues. And from this story of a single photon, our journey must turn to the larger truth it reveals, that the speed of light itself is the measure of the universe, the limit, the boundary, the secret that defines what is possible. Next, we will open that secret. Next, we will listen to the silence of speed, to the horizon beyond which nothing can go faster, to the rule that governs stars, space, and time alike. The journey of a photon is long, patient, and yet once free, it races with unimaginable swiftness. For light is not only illumination, it is also speed, the fastest motion in the universe, the silent limit that shapes time itself. 300,000 kilometers each second, 186,000 miles each heartbeat. Numbers almost too large to hold in thought. Yet this is the speed of light, constant, unwavering, the rhythm by which the cosmos keeps its measure. Nothing outruns it. No sound, no wind, no wave. Even the fastest rocket we build crawls like an ant compared to light. In 1 second, light circles Earth 7 times. In 8 minutes, it leaps from sun to Earth. In 4 years, it crosses the gulf to the nearest star. In billions of years, it paints galaxies across the night. It is messenger, courier, boundary. But why is this speed so sacred? Because it is not just velocity, it is law. Einstein told us this, that nothing with mass can reach light's pace. As matter accelerates, its weight increases. Its hunger for energy grows infinite. The closer it draws to light, the harder the climb becomes, until the summit is unreachable. Light alone rests at the peak. And with this truth came another. Time itself bends around light. The faster one moves, the slower time flows. At the speed of light, time halts altogether. For a photon, there is no waiting, no passage, no before or after. Born in the heart of a star, arriving in your eye, it knows no delay. Its journey to itself is instant. This is the secret of light. It is not only fast, it is timeless. It carries the paradox of eternity within every step. Imagine for a moment that you could ride upon a beam of light. The world around you would freeze. Stars would stand still. The journey would be distance without time, and you would never arrive, for you would never depart. For light, there is only now. Scientists marvel at this, but poets too understand, because is this not the feeling of certain moments in life? When time seems to stop, when presence is all that matters, when the look in someone's eyes or the stillness of a sunrise feels eternal. Perhaps those are glimpses of what light knows always. The eternal present. The speed of light is also horizon. Astronomers call it the cosmic speed limit. No message, no ship, no whisper can cross faster. This means there are parts of the universe we will never reach, never see, because their light cannot yet arrive. They are beyond our horizon, sailing away faster than their photons can travel. The universe is vast, but bounded by the speed of light. It is the edge of our knowing, the line between mystery and memory. Yet even within this boundary, light gives us a universe. It carries images of galaxies, tells us of stars' births and deaths, reveals black holes by what they devour. Even in limitation, it offers abundance. There is humility in this, that we who dream of infinity are held within the arms of light's limit, that we can never outrun it, never surpass it, only receive what it offers. And perhaps that is mercy, for without such a law, time itself would unravel. The fabric of cause and effect would tear. The cosmos would lose its rhythm. Think again of the photon we followed. To us, its journey was millions of years within the sun, 8 minutes across space, a lifetime before arrival. But to the photon, there was no journey, only instant presence. For light, there is no waiting. There is only arrival. This is the gift and the secret. Light shows us that time is not absolute. It bends, it slows, it stretches, depending on speed, depending on gravity. What we call now is not the same everywhere. And yet, light connects all nows together, the thread weaving space and time into one fabric. Einstein called it space-time, but perhaps more gently, we might call it a tapestry of light. For without photons, there would be no sight, no warmth, no memory. The universe would be invisible, silent, empty. And so, light is not only a law of physics, it is also a teacher of humility. It tells us, you cannot go everywhere, you cannot know everything, but you can witness what arrives, and that is enough. In life, too, we know limits. We cannot be everywhere at once. We cannot outrun time. We cannot escape certain endings. But within those boundaries, there is wonder. There is presence. There is light. Have you ever watched the sunbeam move across a floor? It slides so slowly, yet in truth, it traveled 93 million miles to arrive. To you, it feels patient. To itself, it felt instant. You are seeing the marriage of speed and stillness, of distance and presence. The speed of light also defines vision. When you look into a mirror, you see yourself not in this instant, but a fraction of a second later, the time it takes photons to leave you, strike glass, and return. When you look at the stars, you see them years, centuries, millennia in the past. Every glance is time travel. Every act of seeing is a meeting across history. And so, light teaches us patience, for though it is fast, its stories take time to arrive. The starlight above your head tonight left before you were born. It traveled faithfully across emptiness, carrying news of what was. You can do nothing to hasten it. You can only receive. Is this not like so much in life? We rush, we chase, we hunger for arrival. But some things, like starlight, take their own time. All we can do is open our eyes, our hearts, and wait. The speed of light is not just number, it is metaphor. It is the reminder that some boundaries cannot be crossed, that some rhythms cannot be broken, that eternity is woven into every ray. And so, as you rest now, let yourself imagine riding upon that beam. Feel the rush, yet also the stillness. No past, no future, only presence. You are not late. You are not early. You are simply here, moving at the speed of light, resting in the eternal now. From this horizon, our journey of light continues. For if speed reveals timelessness, then what lies beyond it is eternity. Light does not only move, it endures. It whispers not only of motion, but of immortality. And so, next, we drift into eternity itself, into the endless whisper of light beyond time. The speed of light revealed its secret, that for photons, time itself does not flow. For them, there is no waiting, no past, no future, only presence. And this truth opens the door to something larger, something more profound. Light is not only fast, light is eternal. Eternity is difficult for the human mind. We live in hours, in days, in years. We measure beginnings and endings. We know birth and we know death. But light reminds us that some things are not bound this way. Some things endure. Some things, though, whisper beyond time. Think of starlight. The photons that touch your eyes tonight may have left their stars millions of years ago. Some of those stars have already died, their furnaces long extinguished. Yet their light continues, crossing gulfs of darkness, arriving still, refusing to be silenced. Even after their death, the stars shine on. Is this not eternity? A presence beyond presence, a life beyond its ending. Eternity does not mean unchanged, it means unending. Light changes form, absorbed, scattered, reflected, but it does not cease. It passes from star to space, from space to leaf, from leaf to eye, from eye to memory, always shifting, never destroyed. The law of conservation is simple. Energy is not lost. It transforms. It continues. And in that continuation lies eternity. Think of sunlight stored in trees. Leaves catch it, hold it in sugars, lock it into wood. Centuries later, a fire burns that wood, releasing the ancient light, warming skin, flickering in eyes. The tree is gone, but its sunlight lives on. Memory turned to warmth, past turned to present, eternity carried in flame. Or think of photographs. They are fragments of light caught and kept. The glow of a face, the glimmer of a day, the shine of a moment, all held beyond their time. To look at them is to touch eternity, to see light refusing to fade. Even within your body, light endures. Every atom in you was forged in stars. Calcium, oxygen, iron, carbon, all shaped in ancient furnaces. You carry star fires in your bones, stellar radiance in your breath. The stars died, but their light became you, and through you they continue. You are eternity in motion. Religion has always known this in its own way. Halos, candles, stained glass, symbols of eternal light. The flame that never dies, the sun that returns, the lamp kept burning in temples, all reminders that sacredness is not bound by time. In every tradition, light is chosen to represent the eternal, because light does not stay, and yet it never leaves. It changes, but it does not end. And what of the human soul? Many have imagined it as light, a spark within, a flame that cannot be extinguished. At death, the body fades, but the light goes on, released, carried elsewhere. We cannot prove this, but we feel it. We feel it when we light candles for the departed, when we dream of them as glowing, when we imagine them walking among stars. Light to us is eternity clothed in radiance. Even in art, eternity is painted with brightness. The endless blue sky, the golden glow of sunset, the silver shimmer of moonlight, all suggest what cannot be measured, the feeling that some things never truly fade. But eternity does not mean stillness. Light is movement. It is journey. It is forever traveling. And yet, in its endlessness, there is peace. For what moves without ceasing is also what never dies. Perhaps this is why we find comfort in watching light, the slow burn of a candle, the steady march of sunrise, the constancy of stars. We know we will end, but light reassures us that not all does, that something carries on, that something continues, even when we cannot. And maybe this is why hope is so often described as light, because hope, too, endures. It may flicker, it may dim, but it does not vanish. It waits, it returns, it glows again when the moment is right. Hope is eternity within the human heart. Science, religion, art all agree in their own language. Light is the closest we have to forever. Not stone, not steel, not even mountains endure like light does. They crumble, they shift, they fall. But light travels on, untouched by age, a pilgrim of eternity. And perhaps we too are like photons. We move through this world, scattering, colliding, pausing, changing form. But something of us continues. Our words, our actions, our love. They ripple outward like light, touching others, continuing their journey long after we are gone. We are not eternal in body, but in effect, we are echoes of eternity through light. Imagine now, sitting beneath the night sky. Above you, starlight pours from ages past. Around you, fireflies glow in grass. Beside you, a candle flickers. Within you, your own cells glow faintly with life. Everywhere, light whispers the same truth, that nothing truly ends, that everything continues, that eternity is always present even now. And as you breathe, let that comfort settle. You are part of something endless. You are woven into a fabric that stretches beyond time. Your light will join other lights. Your glow will not be lost. You are already eternal because you are already part of light. From here, our journey flows naturally. For if light is eternal, its eternity is not simple. It lives always with darkness, dancing, balancing, shaping. And so next, we step once more into the duet. Light's eternal dance with shadow, the contrast that gives it form, the mystery that keeps it alive. Eternity in light cannot be spoken of without its eternal partner, darkness. For if light continues, so too does shadow. They are not enemies, but companions, woven together since the beginning of time. Once we thought of darkness as absence, as nothingness, as the void before creation. But perhaps it is better to think of it as canvas, as womb, as soil in which light takes root. Without darkness, light would have no stage, no contrast, no meaning. A flame unseen in daylight is ordinary. A flame in shadow is miracle. From the beginning, this duet has shaped existence. The universe itself was born in darkness, a dense, silent expanse before the first flash of light. And even now, most of the cosmos remains hidden. Astronomers tell us that dark matter outweighs visible matter, that dark energy drives the expansion of space. We live in a universe ruled as much by the unseen as by the seen. Darkness is not mistake. It is structure. It is balance. And here on earth, every day is proof of this rhythm. Light rises, darkness retreats. Light fades, darkness returns. Neither wins, neither loses. They trade places endlessly, a cosmic heartbeat. Think of dawn. It is not only light arriving, but darkness softening, making way. Think of dusk. It is not only light departing, but darkness welcoming, gently enfolding. Day and night are not battles, they are conversations. In human life, too, this pattern appears. We live in brightness, moments of clarity, joy, revelation. And we live in shadow, moments of sorrow, rest, uncertainty. Both are necessary. One sharpens the other. One gives depth to the other. A life of only brightness would be blinding. A life of only shadow would be heavy. Together, they form balance. Artists have always known this. Caravaggio painted holy figures emerging from darkness, their halos more radiant because of the surrounding black. Poets write of twilight, of shadows lengthening as symbols of mystery and reflection. Musicians compose with silence as much as with sound. It is absence that makes presence beautiful. Even spiritually, darkness has meaning. Mystics retreat into caves, close their eyes, seek silence and dark so that inner light may appear. Without shadow, the inner flame would be invisible. Without quiet, the whisper of the soul would be drowned. Have you ever walked at night beneath a sky of stars? You realize the stars are not alone. They exist only because of the darkness between them. The sky is not sprinkled with lights. It is darkness painted with radiance. And in that meeting, the human heart feels wonder. Consider also the shadow as teacher. It reveals form. Without shadows, we would see only flatness. It is contrast that gives shape. The curve of a face, the line of a mountain, the fold of fabric, all are revealed by interplay of glow and shade. The world has depth only because of shadow. And what of the shadows within us? We often fear them. The parts of ourselves we hide, the doubts, the griefs, the wounds. But without them, we would be shallow. Our depth, our empathy, our strength come not only from brightness, but from what we have carried in shadow. To embrace our light, we must also embrace our dark. Carl Jung called it the shadow self. He did not mean evil, but the unseen, the parts of us unacknowledged. To deny them is to fragment. To welcome them is to become whole. The dance of light and darkness lives not only in sky and stars, but in the soul. Think of firelight on a wall. Shadows leap and sway. They are alive, moving with the flame. Without them, the fire would not seem as vivid. Even fear, even mystery, becomes part of the glow. Or think of twilight in a forest. Branches form black patterns against fading gold. Leaves shift into silhouettes. The world is quieter, but not lifeless. It is a pause between brightness and dark, a threshold. Many creatures move in this in-between. Owls, bats, fireflies. Life thrives not in pure light or pure dark, but in the dance. This is eternity, not light alone, not darkness alone, but their ceaseless weaving. Each gives the other meaning. Each shapes the other's form. And perhaps this is the secret of comfort, that we do not need to banish our shadows, but to dance with them. That fear softens when seen, that sorrow transforms when held, that uncertainty becomes space for growth. Darkness is not enemy, it is partner. Have you noticed how dreams live in darkness? We close our eyes, the world goes dark, and then images bloom. Our minds need shadow to weave story, to remember, to heal. Even sleep itself is trust in darkness, a daily surrender, a daily reminder that we are safe enough to rest. Light and dark, waking and sleeping, conscious and unconscious, all are pairs in the eternal rhythm. One without the other cannot exist. And so, to fear the dark is to fear half of life. To welcome it is to be whole. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of ocean at night. The waves are dark, the horizon black, but then the moon rises and a silver path spreads across the water. You realize it is not light or dark alone that is beautiful, but the union of both. Moonlight exists only because of shadow. Shadow exists only because of moonlight. And so, as you rest now, let yourself feel that balance. Breathe in brightness, breathe out shadow. Let both be part of you, woven, whole. You are not only the glow, you are not only the shade, you are both this dancing together. For the eternal truth of the universe is this: light and darkness do not destroy each other. They define each other. They make each other visible. They are two halves of eternity's whisper. And from this eternal duet, our journey of light continues. For beyond contrast, beyond reflection and shadow, lies imagination. The ways humans have dreamed with light, shaped it into story, woven it into myth and vision. Next, we will wander into that realm, the realm of imagination, where light is not only physical, but creative, not only seen, but dreamed. From the duet of light and shadow, we move into another realm entirely, the realm of imagination. For light is not only physics, not only reflection or speed, it is dream, it is vision, it is the raw material of human creativity. Close your eyes and think of the word light. What images come? A sunrise, a lantern, a star, a flame. Every mind holds its own gallery, painted by memory, colored by longing. Light lives within us as much as outside us. From the beginning, humans have woven stories out of brightness. In myth, light is almost always divine. Ra, the Egyptian sun god, sails his fiery boat across the sky each day. Apollo drives his chariot of light. Amaterasu, the Shinto goddess, is the sun herself. In each culture, light was personified as power, as spirit, as the center of life. It was too important to be left as mere phenomenon. It had to be made sacred, imagined as God. Even in creation stories, light is often first. Let there be light, says Genesis. From void to brilliance, from darkness to glow, existence begins with illumination. This theme repeats across traditions. Light as beginning, light as source, light is the word that makes all other words possible. And art has followed. Painters chase light endlessly. Caravaggio placed figures in stark beams, darkness pressing around them. Monet painted water lilies not as plants, but as patterns of reflected Turner flooded canvases with sunlight and fire, blurring form into radiance. For painters, light is not backdrop, it is subject, it is story itself. Poets, too, write in its glow. They speak of golden afternoons, of silver moons, of eyes lit with inner fire. Light becomes metaphor for love, for knowledge, for inspiration. To see the light is to understand. To shine is to flourish. To be enlightened is to awaken. Language itself is luminous. In literature, light often marks transformation. Dante, at the end of his Divine Comedy, is blinded by the radiance of paradise. Milton describes the glow of heaven and the fall into shadow. Modern writers use headlights, its lamps, city neon to capture the pulse of life. Imagination borrows light because it is already symbol, already universal. And what of music? Composers write symphonies called Sunrise, songs called Ray of Light. They describe sound itself as luminous, bright chords, shimmering notes. Even without sight, light invades imagination. But perhaps the greatest union of light and imagination comes in film. For cinema is nothing but light arranged in sequence, photons dancing on a screen. Every story in film is painted in beams, a projector, a lens, a pattern of brightness and shadow. And suddenly, we believe in worlds that do not exist. We weep for phantoms of light. We remember them as though they were real. Cinema is dream made visible, imagination sculpted in radiance. Science fiction, too, has built empires of dream upon light. Laser swords glowing in galaxies far away. Warp drives bending starlight. Cities of neon suspended in eternal night. Even the idea of faster than light travel, a dream against physics, is proof of how imagination longs to break the limit. Light is not just boundary, it is invitation. It says, what if? Even technology itself is born of imagination about light. Fiber optic cables carry our voices as beams. Lasers cut, heal, measure, entertain. Screens glow with information. We live inside a net of photons, dreamt into being by inventors who imagined light not only as gift, but as tool. And within the human mind, light is inner vision. Dreams are often described in brightness. Meditations speak of seeing light behind closed eyes. Mystics call it illumination. Scholars call it insight. Artists call it inspiration. But in every case, to imagine is to bring light where there was none. Imagination itself is a form of radiance. Think of a child with a candle. They tilt it, move it, make shadows dance on a wall. Suddenly, the wall is not flat stone, but stage. The shadows become animals, heroes, monsters. A simple flame births whole worlds. This is imagination, in its purest form, turning light into story. Even our myths of the afterlife are luminous. Paradises glow, spirits shine, guides appear as beams, as radiant beings, as lanterns in the dark. Hell, too, is imagined as fire, an inversion of holy flame. Imagination cannot leave light alone. It bends it, reshapes it, makes it carry every dream and fear. And what of the future? We imagine civilizations of light, cities glowing on Mars, ships driven by solar sails, beings of pure radiance, consciousness without body. Whether these will exist or not, we do not know, but already light carries us there in thought. Imagination does not only borrow light, it teaches us to see it differently. Where science sees photons, the poet sees hope. Where physics sees spectrum, the artist sees mood. Where religion sees halo, the mystic sees presence. None are wrong. All are languages of the same radiance. And perhaps this is the true power of imagination, that it takes the ordinary and reveals the extraordinary. That it sees a sunbeam on the floor and calls it miracle. That it sees the glimmer of eyes and calls it love. That it sees stars in the sky and calls them destiny. Imagination is not escape. It is amplification. It is the mind saying, this light is more than photons. It is meaning. It is story. It is me. And so, as you rest now, think of the lights you have imagined in your own life. The way certain rooms glow in memory. The way dreams are tinted with color. The way someone's presence felt like brightness. These are not illusions. They are truths shaped in the theater of the mind, because to be human is to imagine, and to imagine is to shine. Your inner world glows as much as any star, painting your days with meaning, your nights with dream. And that glow does not fade. It continues. It expands. It builds universes within you. From imagination, our journey nears its horizon. For after story, after symbol, after dream, comes the final question. What is the last boundary of light? What lies beyond its glow? What horizon remains when even photons fade? Next, we will step into that mystery. We will walk to the final horizon of light and listen to what waits beyond. Every journey has its horizon. Even light, endless traveler, meets boundaries. And so, as we close our own journey, let us walk with light to its final edge. What happens when light fades? Does it vanish? Does it end? Or does it simply change, becoming something we cannot yet name? Consider the stars. They shine for millions, billions of years. But even stars grow weary. Fuel burns out, furnaces collapse, the glow lessens, the flame dies. And yet, the light already released continues to travel, continues to touch, continues to live in other eyes. The star may end, its light does not. Consider the black hole, a gravity so strong that even photons cannot escape. Here, light meets its boundary, its horizon of no return. To us, it seems swallowed, erased, lost forever. But even then, its presence lingers in the glow around the hole, in the dance of matter before the fall, in the whispers of radiation at the edge. Light resists disappearance. It leaves traces, even at the final frontier. And what of the universe itself? Astronomers speak of heat death, of expansion stretching space so far that stars burn out, galaxies drift apart, and light itself thins into silence, a cosmos without glow, a darkness eternal. But even this is theory, a human attempt to measure eternity. For all we know, light may find ways we cannot yet imagine. It may bend, transform, rise again in new forms. For if energy cannot be destroyed, then light too is never truly gone. The horizon of light is not only cosmic, it is personal. Each of us carries light in our eyes, in our memories, in our hearts. And one day our own light fades, our candle burns down. But what we have shown, what we have given, what we have illuminated in others, travels on. We live in the photons we shared, in the warmth of our presence, in the glow of our kindness, in the sparks of our love. That light does not end with us. It journeys on, finding new homes, new hearts, new horizons. Have you noticed how often we use light as farewell? We say someone went into the light. We light candles for those we miss. We imagine them as stars above us, lanterns still glowing. We cannot believe light disappears because we know deep within that it does not. And so, the final horizon of light is not emptiness. It is transformation. It is continuation in another form. Just as starlight becomes memory, just as firelight becomes warmth, just as candlelight becomes prayer, so too does every glow become something else. Light is never lost. It is only passed on. Think again of the photon's journey, born in fire, scattered for ages, racing across emptiness, finally becoming vision in an eye. Its end was not end. It was fulfillment. It was arrival. So too with all light. Its horizon is not a wall, it is a handoff, a giving, a continuation. Imagine yourself now at that horizon. Before you, the sky deepens into black. Stars thin, galaxies fade. The last ember glows faintly, then slips into silence. You might think it lonely, this place without brightness, and yet you carry light within you still, the glow of memory, the radiance of spirit, the spark that whispers, I am still here. Perhaps that is the final truth of light, that it is not only out there, in stars, in flames, in skies. It is in us. It has always been in us. We are beings of light, walking lanterns, cells shimmering faintly with photons, minds glowing with imagination, hearts burning with love. Even in the darkest night, we are not without glow. And when our journey ends, we too become part of the greater light. We join the starlight, the firelight, the candle flame, the aurora. We scatter outward, merged into the ocean of radiance, not gone, only changed, only carried on. As you breathe now, let yourself rest in this truth, that light has no true end, that every horizon is only a doorway, that every fading glow is a gift, moving forward into new eyes, new hearts, new time. The journey we have walked, from photons to rainbows, from fire to stars, from oceans to memory, from sacred flame to imagination, has been one path of light. And though this series ends, the journey of light does not. It continues in you. It continues in the world. It continues in the universe itself. This is Whispers of the Universe. And as we close tonight, let the world slow down around you. You are safe. You are luminous. You are part of the eternal glow. Sleep now, rest now, cradled in light. The final horizon is not silence. It is radiance without end. It is eternity whispering softly, I am here. I am with you. I will never fade.